Now, getting back to the main point. Last week we reviewed that in Kabbalah, there is something known as the kosher serpent doctrine, which argues that the serpent of Genesis plays a messianic role in the redemption of mankind. Can you believe it? Further, when we get into the Kabbalah belief system, they interpret the serpent in the garden as Leviathan because they're doing so through the lens of Judaism. They don't understand in that belief system Satan. Satan is accuser. Who's doing the accusing? Question mark. Now in Christianity, we ascribe Satan a personhood. We actually say there is a fallen angel and we call him Satan, the accuser. In their belief system, who's doing the accusing? So they interpret the serpent as Leviathan. And it is said in that belief system that Leviathan, who they call the sacred serpent, must restore knowledge to mankind. So, we're going to bring up a slide. And let's bring up slide 1 for just a second. So this is the Kabbalah tree, right? And we talked about how this is a cosmic template of creation in their belief system. And also it maps to the design of man. A lot of rituals and mind control is executed with this map as a foundation. They layer it into people as they are hurting and torturing them. It's really bad. Now, with that said, Da'at is the 11th point on this tree. It is a hidden point, and they say that that is the abyss. You could take it down. I just want that picture in your head. You can take it off. So when I say my next statement, you understand my reference point. It is said that Leviathan, who they call the sacred serpent, must restore knowledge to mankind. And knowledge is Da'at. It is the abyss, and it is knowledge. And Leviathan is in Da'at. Therefore, according to Kabbalah, Leviathan becomes a good guy, and he, in his messianic role, will assist man in the process of transformation and redemption by restoring knowledge, true knowledge, illuminated knowledge to mankind. Let's look at slide 3, which is the Theosophical Society emblem. Now, what you see there is what we call it a swastika. The symbol is actually a lot older than Nazi Germany. That is Da'at. What you see beneath that, which is a 6-pointed star, that is the next 6 points in the Kabbalah tree. Go back to slide 1 real quick. See, Da'at and Yesod, those are the top and bottom of that figure that you see in the Theosophical Society, which, by the way, is an occult group, right? And what they are showing you is that the serpent, the Leviathan, is in Da'at. Let's go back to slide 3. Delivering knowledge, right, which is illuminated knowledge to mankind. And there is a 6-pointed star, which we call the star of Remphan or Metatron's cube, in the midst of the serpent that devours its own tail. And we could take that down. And how many of you know the Ouroboros is the serpent that devours its own tail? So Leviathan becomes not only a messianic figure in Kabbalah, it is also a cosmic force of chaos and a deliverer of illumination. And now this is really interesting, because I'm going to call this Leviathan and 666. Now, when you read the book of Revelation, what you learn is that the number of the beast is 666. And that number, they ascribe to the mark of the beast, right? And so we know that the Bible defines the 666 number as a very, very evil and wicked thing at that time. Now, check it out. Da'at is seen in Kabbalah as a mysterious blackness, and only by crossing the abyss can one find a brilliance of the white light of Keter. So in that figure, you have the Da'at, and then you have 3 points above it. They call it the supernal triad, which is the most ascended realms of consciousness. And you have to ascend the tree, cross the abyss, and then you get into that realm of ascended consciousness. And so occultists will use counterfeit ascension protocols to try to initiate themselves across the abyss and gain access to these realms, which sit in different planes and dimensions. Now, to help mankind across this abyss, Torah sages have concluded that Leviathan, which is a code word for universal consciousness and never-ending light, is in place to help. Isn't that funny? So Leviathan is going to help you cross the abyss and gain illumination. That's actually what they believe. Because that dragon does that. It's part of his role as a chaos being and king over all the children of pride. Now check it out. Let's go to slide 4 real quick. Oh, there's another Leviathan eating its own tail. Let's go to slide, was it 6? Are these the updated ones that I sent, or okay, hold on. You can take that down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go to 4. All right. Now, I'm going to show you something else that's just going to be shocking. So, in Kabbalah, they have something called the macroprosopis and the microprosopis. Now when you take the name Yahweh, Yod He Vav He, and you spell it top to bottom, you get something that looks like a man. It's actually pretty cool because, the Bible says that, God created us in his image. And there we have Yod He Vav He, and it looks like a man. It looks like 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and a head. And so when you get into Kabbalistic belief system, they actually map that to the whole tree. And they say, well, yeah, the Sephiroth tree is actually revealed in the name Yahweh. And so the macroprosopis becomes like that whole concept, and they call that also Adam Cademan and associate that with the Keter. Now, when you move deeper into the belief system and study it out, they have something called the microprosopis. That's a microcosm of the whole thing. And that they ascribe to Metatron's cube, which has its top at Da'at, where Leviathan is, and its bottom at Yesod. Metatron is called the microprosopis of Kabbalah. Now that's interesting because Metatron, which we talked about last week, being one of the twin Leviathans. And I told you that the sacred serpent doctrine yields this conversation called twin Leviathans, which to them become twin messiahs. Messiah ben David and Messiah ben Yosef. Messiah ben Yosef is Metatron. So you have this serpent messianic figure guised as a Metatron character, and Metatron is this microprosopis. Check it out. That is represented by the 6th pointed cube, corresponding to the Vav, the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So in this Kabbalistic text called 3 Enoch, Metatron is revealed by the title Little Yahweh, hence microprosopis. He is Messiah ben Yosef, and when you look at his role relative to our Bible, everything he does is counterpart of our biblical Antichrist. And Malkut, which is the bottom portion of the Kabbalah tree, or what we call the physical world, becomes his bride. They call that Shekinah. By the way, if you flip the Kabbalah tree and you look at the Klipot, which is the tree of death, guess who sits in Malkut? Lilith. Okay, so, oh yeah, how many of you have sang songs to invite Shekinah into your church? Now, this is the crazy thing. Never once in the Bible is Shekinah actually used, ever, of glory. We are told that Shekinah is glory because Jewish encyclopedias of the Bible redefine kabod as Shekinah. But it's not actually in the Bible. It's agenda. So you have in this revealing of chaos a situation where You have one of the twin Leviathans, Metatron, a messianic figure in their belief system, trying to bring his wife online, which is the Shekinah, for an end times objective. We can take it down. Y'all see how crazy some of this stuff is? Are you guys still with me, or did I lose everybody? Where my men at? Let me say this way. Metatron is the microprosopis of Kabbalah, which is Metatron's cube, featuring 6 points, 6 sides, 6 faces. 6 points, 6 sides, 6 faces. It is 666. Metatron is Meshiach ben Yosef, which is one of the twin Leviathans whose actions mirror the biblical Antichrist. Get it? 666. Antichrist. 666. Antichrist. So, who's the Antichrist? The Meshiach ben Yosef. Who powers the Antichrist? The snake. Oh man, is this starting to make sense? Who wants to broker a new world order? The snake and Antichrist. So, it's actually very straightforward. And who does Kabbalah say is the power broker behind political Zionism? We talked about this last week. Metatron, Meshiach ben Yosef. Do you see what's happening? The goal is to bring about the counterfeit bride, the bride of Antichrist, who they call Shekinah, a female deity never once mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, yet placed in our vocabulary. So not only do you have Jesus and his bride, which are biblical themes, but you have the absolute counterfeit, Antichrist and his Shekinah. Okay. Kabbalah wants to bring about Antichrist and his Shekinah. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about Leviathan and Dot. You see why I want to talk about Leviathan? See, Leviathan isn't just a demon that drives narcissistic behaviors in people that don't like you. He's not just a power broker in pride. He's not just sitting there twisting communication so you get in lots of arguments. Like, you know, some of these conversations about what Leviathan does, which are absolutely relevant and true, do not limit the scope of this entity's agendas in the earth. Leviathan is absolutely, without question, power brokering the end of the age with the Antichrist spirit. 100% brokering the end of the age activities with the Antichrist spirit. He's behind it. He's involved. He's governing over councils in the kingdom of darkness that are working angles to bring about the end of the age and the beast's kingdom. And guess what they are using to drive this agenda? Political Zionism. Which is why Leviathan is such a critical component of the agenda. Because the thing is, we were sold a bill of goods that replaced heaven's agenda with political Zionism through a twisting of biblical interpretation. This is why I can say I'm talking about a snake and people think I'm anti-Semitic. It's because everything gets twisted when Leviathan gets involved. In fact, he has twisted an interpretive model of Bible prophecy to yield an agreement with an occult belief system. Oh, okay. And with all of that said, God is all about saving Jews. Okay? Okay? So, now, in Kabbalah, there are two concepts known as the abyss and the veil. And they have to be crossed by ascending the tree through mystical experiences. The abyss guards the way to the supernal triad, Keter, Bina, and Chokmah. The veil shields ordinary consciousness from what they call the deeper contents of our soul above the veil. Only the initiated can pass through the veil. Let's put up figure 1 just one more time so you guys can see. Right? So there is a veil. And the abyss of Da'at, which is what you have to cross in order to go to the supernal triad, Keter Bina Hokmah, must be achieved by being initiated. You can take it down. The abyss of Da'at in their belief system represents man's loss of knowledge after the shattering of the vessels, or we could call it the fall of creation under Adam's stupidity. Now remember, when I gave you guys the kosher serpent doctrine last week, what I explained to you is that every narcissist is the victim of their own story. Somehow in Kabbalah, the entire story of Adam, Eve, and the serpent gets twisted to make the serpent out to be the victim of Adam. Adam is the one who unbalances creation, and the serpent gets hijacked by Samael and gets to be ridden like a camel until the end of the age prophecies begin to be fulfilled, where the serpent arises up out of his bondage to help humanity as a messianic figure achieve knowledge and marry the Kabbalistic occult belief systems of spiritual technologies with technologies in the earth to bring about the great tikkun, which is man engineering his own redemption through transhumanism. I mean, come on. Like, who wants to help man become transhuman? The Antichrist. The snake. Like, that's what's happening. Like, how could we miss this stuff? It's so clear. So anyway. Thank you. I don't even know what I did, but thank you. Thank you. We're exposing the snake. Okay, we're exposing the snake. That's what we're doing. We're exposing the snake. So victim of his own story, right? And so now Leviathan has to become a good guy. So Leviathan gets called the kosher serpent, and he wants to restore knowledge to mankind so we can fix everything. Now, in Kabbalah, you have twin messiahs, which are twin Leviathans. And it is through Leviathan that they say man gains God consciousness. And it was a phenomenal to watch in real time, as it seemed like God was actually moving in mercy, delaying things, because the enemy has his timelines and God has his timelines. And it takes the collaboration between heaven and God's people to keep earth on God's timelines. And earth will get off of God's timelines, just as individual lives will get off of God's timelines. This is why I am so against pew warming messages. Let me train you to warm the pew as a leader. No, we are too important for the agenda of heaven. When good men do nothing, evil prevails. And it's not a performance message. It's a stewardship message. God has called his children into the earth as stewards. And we are stewarding this era and age in partnership and relationship with the Most High God. And if we fail to steward, there will be losses, there will be problems that could have been averted had someone stood up. You have no idea the consequence behind your presence on the earth at this time. My job is to wake many up. And coming back to it, what we need to understand is that it's always been, okay, at the center of the Illuminati plan for a third world war, to make that war between the Muslim Arabic world and political Israel. That's been an agenda that's been fomenting ever since the Rothschilds took the land from Palestine and made it a nation in 1948. There has been an ongoing fomenting of aggression and, bad will from both sides. Both sides. Just because Mossad is the three-letter agency version of the CIA that works in Israel does not make them holy while the CIA is unholy. And the CIA trained Osama bin Laden. Everybody knows that, Sheila. They've been working on this conflict for a long time. Because a third world war will, executed rightly, bring about the desperation they need to install a one world government under a supernatural messianic figure that looks like God. So political Zionism is necessary. They need it to be bought into by as many people as possible until they finish brokering their real agenda, which is death, destruction, bloodshed, and the wholesale buy-in of the world, in their view, on their government and their man, the beast.